Hello, I'm Erin,
And I'm Sophia.
and we had the topic of nutrition, and we decided to do our program on nutrition for diabetes management for the retired adult. So we did some research and found some current resources within Hillsborough County, and the first one I found is from the Florida Department of Health. And this specific program that I found was a group program that lasted for 7 weeks, and it was a 90-minute class for people ages 18 and older. There was no cost to the participant, and it was led by registered dietitians. The next resource that I found in Hillsborough County was from the American Diabetes Association, and if you go onto their website, this was a search engine for diabetes education programs. And so you could just type in your zip code and find the certain diabetes programs that were within your area. The specific one that I found was from Tampa General Hospital, and it was called Diabetes Self-Management Education Program. It did not specify, though, whether there was a cost or the age requirement. The last resource that I found that dealt with our topic was at a place called Progress Village Senior Dining and Activity Center. And this was the closest program that we found to what we're going to be talking about. They were offering virtual classes due to COVID-19, so normally they would be in person. But this was a nutrition and wellness program, and it was for specifically for the older adults. They met 2 times weekly for 1 hour online, and it was offered in English and Spanish. So as you can see here, I did find some resources regarding nutrition for the older diabetic adults, but there is a need for this program that we're going to be talking about because there's currently nothing specifically for that elderly diabetic population. I couldn't find anything either that was, like I said before, specifically for the elder diabetic population that was a self-management education program. And there was also no current programs within Hillsborough County that were led by occupational therapists. So I did find 2 articles that kind of goes with what we're talking about here. So Smallfield and his colleagues performed a systematic review, and they stated that providing education regarding self-management techniques to the older adults who have diabetes from occupational therapists can actually increase their participation in activities of daily living. The next resource that I found was also a systematic review, and they stated that the use of groups within a community setting can significantly increase occupational performance in the elderly population with chronic conditions.
So, our program, this is our solution to the gap that's needed, to fill the gap that's needed. It's going to be a 6-week program. It's free of cost to the participant. And that first week, we want to gather everyone together. So we will offer an in-person class, but you could also go on Zoom if you would like to, or if you can't make it in. So the rest of the weeks is all going to be self-directed. That's through a pamphlet and packet that we're going to give out. In that, it's going to include the meal planner toolkit. It's going to have a guide for carb counting. It's also going to include a nutrition calculator. And then also just more information about how everything relates to diabetes and just more course material about how they can manage it properly. The benefits of our program, why it's unique, is that it's focused specifically on diabetes management based on nutrition for the elderly population. And as occupational therapists leading it, it's going to be tailored to habits and routines because that's a part of our practice framework, just working through getting someone back to doing the things that they have to do every single day and working with how those routines and habits impact their health. And It's also unique because it's going to be self-directed, but it's also going to have an optional online discussion part that you can go on Facebook into our Facebook group and be able to chat with other people in it so that you have that sense of accountability and the community engagement. So here are activities. That first week we're going to talk a lot about habits, so just defining habits in general and eating habits. So we're going to talk about how eating habits can be impacted by routines, and the activity that they're going to do is they're going to create lists of their current habits and routines when it comes to eating, and then they're going to do another one after that of things that they want to employ. So old habits, new habits. And then we're going to talk about food labels. So we're just going to teach about everything that's on a food label. This is all going to be through the packet. Everything that's on a food label and how to look for good ones and bad ones. So that's going to be just an activity about practicing reading food labels and answering questions about it so that they are equipped to do that on their own when they're shopping. And then carb counting activity. They're going to have course material about how important it is to count carbs when it comes to your blood sugar. And that is going to be done in an activity where they can take different meals and have to move things around so that they make sure that they're only getting 44 grams of carbs in each meal. So some more activities that we have planned are making sure that they know how to use a nutrition calculator. So we have a tool called Nutrition Calculator that we will print out in big font so that it's able to see. And then you can fill in there all the different components of your meals. That's why reading a food label is important. So we'll be able to have practice putting in all the different parts of the meal so that they can make sure that they know what they're putting in their body. And then another one is meal planning. So this is super important. They're going to talk about the importance of why you should meal plan, and then it's going to come with a meal planning toolkit that will include a place that you can plan out your shopping trip, any recipes, and just be able to write out exactly what you're going to be making for the week. And then another activity that we have is talking about nutrient-rich foods in diabetes. So for people with diabetes, that is going to be important because we're going to teach them about the nutrients needed for health based on what they have to have and what they shouldn't have. So that's just going to be given. They're going to be given recipes that they can look at as an example, and then they're also going to be asked to create their own. And again, that discussion piece. So the objectives for our program, we want our participants to be able to remember the importance of carbohydrate consumption control with diabetes. We want them to understand how to use that written nutrition calculator. And then we want them to apply knowledge of those good eating habits to promote their health promotion and well-being. And to analyze food labels to be able to make decisions on if it's a proper choice. And then being able to evaluate meals to pick out the nutrients. And as well as doing that so that they can all come together to create that meal plan for the week. Thanks for listening.